Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities Podcast. I'm your host, Melvin the Crimson Taurus, and unfortunately, Niema can't be here with us today. She is busy studying and growing her brain, so you guys know how that goes, getting that edumacation or however it's called. However, as you know, if I'm live for a podcast, I'm never alone. And if you're not blind and can read, then you'll know for sure today is no exception. Coming to us all the way from across the pond and ready to drop some knowledge bombs and enlightenment on us, a daughter of Hecate, a beautiful soul, a really, really honestly sweet person. Please welcome that Divination Witch, Sarah.
Hi, Melvin. Thanks for having me here. How are you today?
I am good. Thank you for coming on. I know it was semi short notice, then not short notice, and I don't know, it was some type of notice. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no worries. No worries.
Yeah, all the way across the pond. We could call you a British witch, right? That's a tongue twister.
yeah, British witch.
Yeah, are,
Yeah,
are there many of you over there? Just out of curiosity.
yeah, I suppose they are. I mean, it depends what path you follow, but there's a whole hotspots of people. If you've heard of a place called Glastonbury, that's like the epicenter of paganism in the UK. Lots of druids and Celtic practitioners, things like that.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. You're are you near there yourself or you're elsewhere?
No, sadly not. I'm up in the northeast
Oh,
in a place, well, let's say Newcastle, not far from there. If
mhm.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
I know the
If you
soccer
know,
team, so
oh,
oh,
right.
excuse me, football. Sorry.
Yeah, so we're famous for that, and we're famous for being drunk, I suppose. If
Uh,
you've heard of Geordie Shore, that's a thing. Oh,
okay.
but yeah, that's where I'm from, where the drunk people are.
I mean, you know what? We're everyone's from somewhere, so and I look at it this way: you have stories to tell. Like, oh, look at
Yeah.
Edgar. He came out of the pub and he's just going up and down, left and right. Like, oh, yeah, so it's always fun. Nothing wrong with that. But will you be making a pilgrimage to? Oh gosh, what? He said the name and I just forgot it. Well,
Oh, Glastonbury.
gl- yeah, I can't pronounce that. Will you be making a pilgrimage there anytime soon?
Yeah, hopefully. Me and one of my other friends, who she stars on my channel sometimes, she's a Hecate witch as well. We're going to go down there hopefully for Samhain, Halloween
Mhm.
time. Like every solstice, there's something on. There's always something on down there. You need to Google it. Have a look at the Glastonbury paganism. They do like a procession through the streets of like I don't know people in costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. It kind of sounds like a blast, to be totally honest with you. But I can also imagine it's very spiritual as well, and just all that energy circulating, and it's like, whoa, what a feeling here.
Yeah, definitely. I think off the top of my head, it's next to a ley line. So, I mean, I'm a little bit, well, of a novice with this knowledge, but
Mhm.
technically, the Earth has chakras, I suppose. Don't know if you've heard of that one, but one is near Glastonbury, and Stonehenge is not too far away from there. So it is like an energetical place. Uh, and yeah, all the different types of people come together, different sorts of practitioners, all sorts. So
Mhm.
it's fun.
Okay, so that is interesting. Definitely putting that on the list to check out and see what's happening there. So look at that. You already enlighten us with some info. Not even 5 minutes in. You see, guys, that's how this works. All right, so I'm curious about something, Sarah. how did you start walking the path that you're on? What introduced you to this occultness, this witchiness? What
Hmm.
happened that got you there?
Well, first I was about 14. I'm 34 now. And I don't know, I was drawn to it. I always have believed in something, like something more. And back then, all there was information about Wicca, things like that. So I dabbled, but it didn't resonate with me. You know, that's a whole path in itself. It's just not for me. So when I was really awakened was 2018. I know people say you have a dark night of the soul kind of thing. Something bad may happen that makes you realize, there's more to life. Well, basically, I lost my grandma on my birthday, which
Oh,
was like weird timing. And then Hecate made herself known to me and just gradually, introduced herself to me. And I realized, oh, she's been there like my whole life. Uh, and yeah, it just snowballed from there, I suppose, from being clueless about everything
hmm.
to, well, where I am now.
Yeah, I mean, so it went 0 to 60, just boom, it's happening. Well,
Yeah.
that's the funny thing about stuff like that because it happens when it's when it's your time essentially. Like it doesn't happen on your time, but it happens on your time when you're ready and just things seem bonkers. I notice that's when stuff picks up and comes in and it's like, okay, well, go for broke. And it's funny you mentioned Wicca because Wicca seems like the introductory to everything. Quite a few people I know, they said, yeah, I got into this. I started with Wicca. It's like, huh,
Yeah, it
wh-
seems a thing, isn't it?
yeah, like why is that? I mean, I guess because it is rather popular and somewhat easy to follow. I don't know.
Uh, I think, well, maybe, I don't know if you've spoke with a lot of British people on the channel, but the guy who created Wicca, like the traditional Wicca,
Mhm.
Gerald Gardner, was British. And, well, because of Wicca, I know it's got its problems, and but because of Wicca, we can openly say, "I am a pagan. I am a witch." It was a recognised religion, whereas before that, at least over here, that wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why, I don't know. But that's all the resources there was in like the 90s and early 2000s.
Mhm.
That's all there was.
Yeah. Now, funnily enough, this just hit me. My very first guess, she was British. She was Wiccan. Even here.
Oh, was she?
Yeah, even here. Like the very first guess, like Wicca intro did the opening. So I mean, it's something to it. But yeah, you make a very good point because for whatever reason, it's considered taboo to talk about things like this, or it used to be. It's becoming more and more common ground. And do you think part of that has to do with the influence of the church, where they just sort of made everything that isn't Abrahamic in this case look evil or associated with the devil?
Yeah, in a nutshell, yeah. Can't just blame, I suppose, one Abrahamic religion like Christianity, but that does hold a big responsibility. I believe it was King James who was the guy. I find it interesting. I only know little bits about it. I'm not a historian, but King James, he started the witch hunts. There was loads of witch hunts over here on the British Isles, throughout the country. And he rewrote the Bible. That's the King James edition.
Hmm.
Uh, to say it said used to say, "Thou shalt not suffer an adulterer to live," but now it's, "Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live." He really had a vendetta against witches, but he also studied demons, and I believe he's got a book on demonology as well.
Yep.
So it's a bit like, so yes, I do think it's the influence of people like that.
Yeah.
He's just an example.
Yeah,
Uh,
I remember reading some stuff on King James. I can't remember the person's name, but how they tortured this poor guy to get him to confess to some type of demonic pack, and it's like, oh my gosh, what is wrong with you people? So
Hmm.
it's insane. I mean, no, it's insane. It's no other way to explain it. But it is nice though seeing that people are able to talk about their beliefs or their spirituality a bit more open now without too much risk of getting lynched, I guess you could say. Yeah,
Yeah.
so what do they call it? Being out of the broom closet. I think that's the saying or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all right. Now speaking of Hecate, is it I always say her name wrong or right. Is it Hecate, Hecate, or Hecate?
Honestly, I don't think she cares. I mean, the ancient Greek, it's something like, and I always butcher it, like ekate, it was spelled with an E-K, ekade.
Mhm.
Uh, but honestly, I don't think she minds.
I mean,
So I normally say Hecate, but
it's
yeah.
pretty trivial to be totally honest, but it's just something I'm curious about because I am a notorious butcherer of names, and I know sometimes when you work with certain deities or beings, they could be particular about stuff. Um, and it's interesting too because I said her name three different ways, three times, and I think it said that she has three heads, right? At one point.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to her. I mean, three is a sacred number to her,
Mhm.
so that's interesting. She isn't sometimes the triple faced goddess, or sometimes it's three goddesses, like three ladies. Sometimes it is three heads. I mean, she's got loads of epithets. It's not always human. Also, you said trivial, and that's an epithet of hers, trivia.
Oh,
That's what the Romans used to call her. So there
okay.
you go.
So, all right.
Yeah.
So maybe she's flowing today or something. I don't know. But it is, she is such an interesting deity being. I don't know what we would call her, goddess, because she is found throughout various belief systems. Like you said, you see her in Greece. I think she has a counterpart in Egypt, and she made her way to the British Isles. It's like, what the heck? How did you get all over the place? And I think that is so cool because it's not too many that's recognized like that everywhere. So what is it about her that different cultures just gravitated towards, in your opinion?
Uh, well, I'm recently coming to acknowledge and learn this myself. That Hecate is the divine feminine. That's the way I see her. So, yes, she is, in Hellenic myth, she predates that. She's in, there's other epithets of her, like crosses over to Roman times. There's Heka from the Egyptian as well, like you've said. But I believe it was I will butcher this, the Chaldean oracles, who basically, if you've heard of Gnosticism, and I only know bits about this, but the Holy Sophia was the divine feminine that basically split off from herself. She created the God that the Abrahamic religions worshipped, let's say. So this Chaldean oracles puts Hecate in that role and says that she is the divine feminine. But I don't know, the more over the years I've gotten to know her, she is so primordial, her energy. I think she goes by many names, many faces, that's that's my theory, if that makes any sense at all.
No,
It's that she is just so primordial.
no, it makes sense to me because I tell people all the time, like y- they can, they will adapt to us, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And a good example that I like to use is Belial or Belial, whatever you want to call him. Some people have said that he's scary, he doesn't mess around, and his energy is
Mm-hmm.
whereas I say that's a projection of what you think. And that being is adapting to that, to what you're putting out. Like, if this is what you expect and feel he's going to be, then this is how he's going to show up. Even if you don't want to use the name Belial, Belial, call him Bob from around the corner. Then, all right, well, hey, here I am. I'm Bob, and staying on that, other people have said, like, I've never had any sort of fear or sensed uh, bad intentions or like he was scary or anything like that. And the people who said that projected someone who was wise, knowledgeable, and there to teach, not scare you half the death through their lessons. So
Yeah,
I think with Hikade, it can be the same with her, where yes, it can be this one primordial being, and what we project onto her is what she adapts to or becomes, and it's like, this is what you expect, this is what you get.
yeah. No, I do agree. Like to an extent, I do
Hmm.
agree. I mean, the way I see deities in general is that there's so many different epithets of different deities. They shapeshift. They can act different to each of us depending on, like you've said, what we may need or expect, etc. But there's different cultural influences in that as well, like the same archetypes. So I do see them as archetypes. I do see like all divinity is that, you've always got your love gods, your war gods, your wisdom gods and stuff like this. So there are other goddesses out there who are similar to Hecate. uh, and yeah, there is a lot of fear mongering out there about her. So I do appreciate that. Perhaps that does have a bearing on how some people perceive her because of that fear mongering, which doesn't help. Uh, but yeah, she could be mother to one person. She could be a mentor to another. She could be even more. I've heard of her being like a lover, which at one point I would be like, no, she doesn't do that. But each to their own. It's
Yeah.
relative.
And oh, hello, Noella. Noella has a question for you, and she says that she was told that Hecate rules the underworld, earth, and the divine. Is that true in your opinion?
Yeah, in my opinion, yes. In her Hellenic guise, that's what the mythologies say. So, in her ancient Greek form, let's say, it is said that Zeus feared her. He gave her dominion over the sky, the sea, the land, basically everything. But even if you look outside of that, like I've said, she just feels so primordial that she does have power everywhere. She's a liminal goddess. No matter what sort of mythology you put with her, she helps the living and the dead. She helps heaven and hell. She sort of thing, good and bad, or whatever, light and dark. She's everything. So yeah,
And she's also a crossroad goddess, right? We could say that.
yeah,
Yeah, you see,
yeah, yeah.
so with her, at first I was a little bit confused with her because I was looking up research on Papa Legba, and he shows up at the crossroads, and then I see this name Hecate. I was like, what the heck is this? What's a Hecate? Can you eat it? Sounds like
Mm.
a drink or something. And it's like I dive deeper into it. It's like, oh, wow, it's a lot happening here. And
Mhm.
the fact that she is a crossroad goddess as well, or can be at the crossroads, I think it's interesting because it fits that past, present, future type of thing. And
Mhm.
it's like, okay, so you can see all paths, and
Yeah.
I believe she would be good for guidance, perhaps changing your life, or at least just finding something that works for you. And
Mhm.
going to your personal story here, like, because it looks like she came to you. I mean, she was always there, but eventually she really came to you before you went to her. How did she change your life apart from helping you find your spiritual path and workings? Like, did she help you get over? Because I know you said that your grandmother passed on your birthday, and that's harsh. I'm sorry about that. I,
It's okay.
but how in other ways did she help you? Like, were you in a gang or something? You gonna stab a hoe? Like, I'm curious.
No, well, me, no. Uh, she's helped in so many ways. There's a few things I kind of feel I'll quickly say just what when you before you asked me that. With her being a crossroads goddess, and you said about Papa Legba,
Mm-hmm.
I think. See, she's linked with sorcery. She's linked with the liminal, and yes, she sees past, present, future, and that goes into her being this all-powerful divine being. And the archetype of Hecate is so Papa Legba, I know he's his own being and everything, but it's a similar archetype. It crosses over in the male to a god called Janus, and in Roman times, who was portrayed with two faces, looking at all angles, sort of thing, the past, the future. He was also like this liminal deity. So it's just, I don't know, you know how I was saying about archetypes before? Well, we were saying that like across cultures, across humanity, there you go, Papa Legba, Hecate, Janus, etc. You know, it all links together. But for me, how she has helped in so many ways, I think that's a question that it's going to be difficult to answer. A lot to do with my personal traumas. At one point in my life, I wouldn't have even been sitting here doing this. I was so shy and, you know, a lot of issues to get over. And I still work on that. She's a healing goddess in that regard. I would say that she gets you to face your fears, and understand why you feel a certain way, why you might be having a certain response to something. What can you do differently? I've done videos about it on my channel about how she, helps you heal, but helped me gain my confidence. So not just in a magical way or spiritual way, but in general, to speak up. And yeah.
Okay. And Gemma Black dropped in. She says, "Love Sarah." So there you go, getting some love there. No one
Oh,
says love
hi.
Melvin. Man, what the heck? No love for me? Okay. I see how you guys are. I got you. But in all seriousness, that's awesome. And welcome, Gemma. I hope I'm saying your name right. It might be Gemma.
No, Gemma,
Gemma.
Gemma.
Okay. Yep. I knew it. Butcher of names here. but but yeah, so okay. So I have a friend who is working with Hecate, and she sort of stopped for a good while, for about 3 years, because she was going through some stuff, and she is trying to reestablish that relationship. What advice can you give to people? And this isn't necessarily just exclusive to Akate, but what advice can you give to people who may have worked with a deity, or they just connected with them and then they had to stop for whatever reason and they're trying to reconnect? What advice can you give them?
Well, it's okay to take breaks. We all need them, no matter how big the break is. So that's okay to acknowledge that. And Hecate, if it is in regards to her, she is one of the most understanding goddesses I've ever met. She understands if someone isn't feeling okay, if they're not up to it. She understands the difference between someone just being purely lazy or arrogant or rude or whatever, to actual, a mental health issue, or life's just overwhelming. I mean, it is what it is. I think fear mongering doesn't help. Some of the things that people say, she does like dedication and discipline, but she also understands that, if you push somebody too much, they will break if they're not ready. And that's not productive in any way. It doesn't help her, it doesn't help you. So it's better to have a break if you need it, if you're not ready. And take your time as well. So even if it's not her, if it's any deity, just take your time, ease back into it. Don't jump in off the deep end, especially if you've had a big break. Yeah. I mean, that happens, doesn't it? People try and run before they can walk. It's
Yeah.
all the excitement, isn't it?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
yeah, just take it easy.
you can't help but be excited when you open that door and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm speaking to something from the other side and it's actually real. I'm not crazy." I'm sure everyone has gone through that when they really started to believe and feel it's like, "I'm not crazy. This is legit. I'm not, Did you go through that out of
Yeah.
curiosity?
Oh yeah. Even now, I mean, I still get moments thinking I am just saying a load of twaddle. That's a British word for you, twaddle. uh, Even last night, I did a reading for someone who asked me about spirits around their home. This person is from Turkey. I don't know if they'll ever see this, but hello, hi. Uh, and I just purely used my abilities to visualize who and what was there, and I discovered a new being for the first time. And this being, it looked like a young girl, and I thought was just a spirit, someone who like a child, but she was glowing white and she was giggling and running around this house. And I thought, who are you? Are you up to no good? But essentially, she was like a nature spirit, like the fae sort of thing, except I think they called them Urshi or something. It was a Turkish name for it. And when I looked it up, because I was curious after, I thought, is there a Turkish word for the fae? And the description on it, it said that they normally appear as young and childlike. And, you know, I sent that reading to him in good faith from me, being like, right, well, this has got to be right, but I sound like a loony. Okay. And then, I don't know, you just have moments like that of, holy crap, how the heck did I know that? Like, I channeled some Chinese spirit, and I made a note of it in my notebook. He said feng shui or something. I don't know what that means. I don't speak Chinese. So I looked it up, Google, thank you. And it said to part ways. It means basically you saying goodbye. I was like,
Oh,
oh, okay.
oh.
Yeah. So there are moments like I think I'm just some woman in England who's just ordinary. What the hell? But
Yeah.
all the
I
time,
I
all the
mean, I
time.
I think sometimes those moments are really good too, though, because it helps you remember and understand and kind of stay a little humble too. And it's just like, wow, wow. You just take a moment, you sit down, you really think about it, and I don't know. Sometimes you just get hit by that energy, and it's just like, hmm, more to life. and
Yeah, definitely.
And hello, I'm gonna butcher your name, Laurel. That's as close as I'm going to get. And she says, "We all love Sarah." So
Oh,
that's
so
awesome.
Lauren's my friend as well, and so is Gemma. They both follow Hecate too.
Okay,
Uh, but she
well,
goes by Laurel online, and
Laurel.
apparently,
Okay,
yeah, Laurel, like laurel leaves, and apparently that's linked with Hecate too.
okay. And thank you, doll, for saying you love me. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh,
And speaking of doll, she has a question for you, and she wants to know what's the scariest experience you've had with a spirit.
oh, I've got quite a few. uh, I'll briefly tell you, just in case it happens to you guys too. I don't like to fearmonger, but when I was first awakening, let's say, uh, I had this experience, this phenomena of something or someone, I don't know what it was, pounding on the door. It was waking me up in the middle of the night. It sounded like someone was trying to break my door down, like the front door, but no one was there. And doing some research into it, asking about it, apparently it's a thing when you're first waking up. Not so nice things, might try it on. So don't open the door if that ever happens. That's what I'd say. You don't know what you're inviting in. That was terrifying when that happened. I think as well, a lot of firsts here. One time the first time when a negative entity came through on the back of a reading, because it was attached to this person. So a few years back, it was when I was first starting to read for other people. I had a customer who, she was suffering some things, and she thought this spirit was her spirit guide. It wasn't. It was saying negative things to her, telling her like she's not good enough, kind of like triggery things. I don't want to go too in depth. And so I did a reading on it naively somewhat, because I knew about these things. Didn't think the thing would come through to my house, and it did. So I had to banish it. That was the first encounter I had. And it smashed a clock off my wall, which I really liked. It was cute. It had Baby Yoda on, and it smashed it. The little
prick move by it. Darn it.
Yeah, but yeah, that was scary.
Yeah, that's beyond scary. And knocking. I don't know what it is about knocking, but it's just, especially at night, always seems like you're in a nice, good, comfortable position. Do 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 do. Like, what the heck? So,
yeah.
So there you go, doll. Don't do anything to raise the dead or something, so you can experience that, doll, because you just might. Don't do it. So going back to Hecate for a moment. Oh, never mind. I'll circle back. You have a really nice comment here from. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Butcher of Names is out today. Tatjana Winkler. I'm sorry.
All right, I think it might be. I don't know how to pronounce that myself. Tatiana.
Well,
see, I can't do it either.
TJ. We're just gonna say TJ. Sarah, you're just such a wonderful, kind, smart, talented, and beautiful person. Love your work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's really nice. Now circling back to Hecate real quick, what offerings does she like if someone were to work with her and ask her for help or advice or something? Like what do you offer her, or do you not offer anything? You just speak like you and I.
A mixture of everything. I mean, me personally, it's, she's with me every single day. I can feel her here now, like she's always here. So now I'm at a point where, no, I don't always offer her stuff. It's like talking, she's in this role in my life, I suppose, as a guide, a mentor, and my mother. So it's just like talking with a family member, I suppose. But I still give her offerings. Yeah, I mean, there's traditional things she likes, garlic, eggs, fish, lavender, olive oil, olives. I don't know why I said olive oil first, but yeah, all the olives, grapes, kind of, I suppose, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern kind of foods. There's traditional ways you can give her offerings. Not everyone does this. I don't always do this. Or she loves wine as well. She's telling me, don't forget the wine. Traditionally red wine, but she's thrown curveballs at me, and I sometimes have to give her white wine for some reason. But yeah, you can give her offering at the crossroads. That is a thing. It's called deep non. Again, butcher here as well. I don't know if I've said that right. So traditionally in Hellenic times, on the new moon or the dark moon, people would give offerings to the goddess Hecate and the restless dead at the crossroads. And it's a sacred thing. So you could do that if you want on the new moon. And it said, don't look back. Again, it's a spirit thing. If there are dead people there, they might follow you. Oh. That's a superstition. But yeah, people would do that even, back then. That was a traditional thing. So people still do that. You don't have to partake in it, though. She isn't going to smite you if you don't. And don't worry as well. I've had that question asked of me about, can I give her offerings indoors? Like, yeah, you can, but you don't always have to give her physical things, and she understands if you can't afford it. Times are hard at the moment. Not everyone can. You can do acts of service in her name. Donate to charity, volunteer. she loves animals. I know she loves dogs. That's her traditional symbol. But not just dogs, all animals, in my experience. Be kind to the animals, to your neighbour. Help someone elderly. And she loves the written word as well. So if you write her a letter, just some words, she likes stuff like that.
Okay, noted. It's funny because I know she's associated with dogs, but for whatever reason, I always pictured her with cats. And I can't tell you
Yeah,
why. I've always, whenever I think of her or hear, I always think cats and not dogs,
yeah.
but I'm also a cat person, so that could be why too. Uh,
Yeah.
so Doll has another question for you, and she wants to know if you've ever had any contact with extraterrestrials or if you even believe in them.
Yeah, I
Uh-oh.
believe in them. I
That
know it was a
yeah.
scary one.
Yeah, that yeah
Yeah, it
was
was a
like,
scary
oh
one.
God.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys believe, but I mean, I don't know how I feel about the whole starseed stuff. I don't know enough about it to make real comment on that, I suppose. But I do believe in some of the things that they do, that these beings exist. Like, I know we're entering conspiracy theory territory, but reptilians, I suppose, the greys, I do believe that, yeah, they are a thing. Uh, I have met something called a watcher before, and I'm careful what I say because I don't want to get the attention of one on me, but that's a thing. I don't know if you've heard of them. They're meant to be keeping an eye on us in a not always nice way. And that kind of terrifies me. And that's maybe something I need to work through myself. And yes, I have met one before, and I was like, "Oh my God, go away, please, bye."
Yeah,
I'd rather deal with a demon or a demon than that.
you're not the first to say that. My friend Bonnie, she's a Texan witch. She does not like the alien thing. She's afraid of. She's like, "Give me the demons, give me this, give me something. I could do this and protect myself. What do I do against that? Something coming light years away." But yeah, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
We're believers here. Like this channel actually started because of alien stuff, so you're in good hands here. We all sound nuts, so we're just gonna roll with it. Um, but yeah, so that's interesting that you met a watcher because when I hear watcher, I think, of course, uh, Book of Enoch, I think it was, and
Yeah,
with
the
the watcher.
Azazel and
Yeah.
Samyaza.
Yes.
I've worked with Azazel, so I know all about
Oh,
them.
okay. All
Yeah.
right. So how was that?
Oh, amazing. And this is something that maybe, you know, is unique to me because Azazel, people think he's this badass. Well, he is a badass, but, this scary demon guy, this devil. And, even normally people on the left hand path kind of portray him as this like really dark character. But to me, he showed me a softer side to him. He really helped me with some trauma, shadow work. He's really good at that. He's known as a dark mirror sometimes, reflecting things you didn't even know you had buried. And he's really good with that. So, he was healing for me, and I love him so much. Actually, he's like a friend in a way. I know that sounds odd, but it's kind of been this. I met him through an old friend, you see, and then I got to know his energy through this friend, and then as time's gone on, it's like he was a friend too. Uh, so yeah, he comes in and out of my life even now, still. Been years on and off. We work together.
And TJ Winkler says that my offering to Akate is quit smoking after being a heavy smoker for 30 years. They are now
Oh
three
wow.
weeks clean. So way to go. That's awesome.
Oh yeah. I know it's not easy. I used to smoke years ago, and I know it's so hard to quit. So well done.
Yeah, seriously, congratulations on that. Keep going. And next thing you know, it'll be a year or two and you forgot you were even a smoker. So way to go. And Laurel, oh my gosh, I cannot say your name.
L'Oreal, because you love
L'Oreal.
it.
I want to call you Lori. Anyway, she says that Azazel really is amazing, and my dumb butt, I always get Azazel mixed up with Azrael, and I try not to.
I've done that before.
Yeah, it's just the names are so similar. It's like, okay, this one's the Angel of Death, right? Azrael. Okay. And then you got the Watcher, Azazel. Try to remember that. And then I just get them mixed up. So it's like, whatever. Um, so that's interesting, though, that you've worked with them. And have you also worked with the goddess, the Morrigan?
No, I've not worked with her. I've met her several times. She's actually my stepmother's ancestral goddess, which, yeah, so she does come to me sometimes. I've had encounters with her, but no, I don't feel drawn to the Celtic path myself. Never say never. I've learned that, but my ancestry is mainly Norse, and yeah, I worked with the Norse gods for a time as well. But right now, I guess I'm more left-hand path leaning. I'm working with Mother Hecate, and then some demons and also angels mixtures.
Okay.
That's what I'm on at the moment.
Hold that thought on angels and demons. We're gonna go there in a second. But with the Morrigan, very interesting because like I don't work with anything. I don't practice anything really. I like talking about the stuff. And because again, my Texas witch friend Bonnie, she works with the Morrigan, and I felt her come over here to visit and I guess to scope me out. Like, let's see, can you work with me? It was an instant no. I'm too stubborn. She would blow my head up. But when I sort of felt her energy, it was very warm. It made me think of the color red, which is my favorite color anyway. And it really felt motherly to a degree. And I
Mhm.
know that some people see her as the warrior goddess, where when she screeches, your head blows up. And some see her more so as a goddess for femininity. It's like, no, this is for women. And it's like, okay, I guess, sure. And all of that. So I think she's very interesting. I love the history behind her. So
Yeah.
I was just curious though if you've worked with her, but yeah. So the angel and demon thing. Oh boy, this is a can of worms. So well, it is because this goes into the good versus evil thing and all of that, and it's like, okay, what's your take on angels versus demons? Do you think that there actually is some type of war between them and they just want to kill each other?
No. In a nutshell, no. I have. I'll be putting a video out more in depth about this myself, but it's a spectrum. That's the way I see it. So the universe is made up of light and dark, not necessarily good and bad, but light and dark. And the way I see it is everyone's capable of good and bad things, but where you land on that spectrum, that it's different. So even I give an example sometimes of Archangel Michael, the leader of the archangels, a light warrior. He is badass. He can kick some ass. But if you're in the wrong place, the wrong time, if it's for the greater good, you could be, ass kicked. uh, exactly. It's all about perspective. So if you are looking at it from his point of view, he might be like a superhero, he's done the good thing. But if you are the little guy who was in the way, wrong place at the wrong time, he could be a demon, I suppose, in that regard. Like, I'm not calling him a demon, but the bad guy. And the same goes for people on the other side of the spectrum. I have worked with some dark entities like Azazel, who was meant to be this fallen angel, this corrupt energy. He's the scapegoat. He is bad, supposedly, but yet he's healed me. He's helped me heal and face things. So I'm not saying he's not capable of bad, but he's also capable of good. It's just the spectrum. That's the way I see it.
Yeah.
And that everything's made up of light and dark. Everything. That's why we have day and night as well. you know.
Well,
Uh,
you can't have one without the other. It's a balancing
mhm,
act, and I view demons, angel, just the same thing, just different way of doing stuff.
mhm,
Whereas an angel might be a little more selective, maybe. It depends on their personality, I guess. And a demon might be like, all right, let's get it on. But again, it depends
mhm,
on their personality, because I think one of the issues is we view them as a whole instead of individual beings, because they have their own personalities, their own likes, dislikes, and we put so much emphasis on light being good, dark bad. And
mhm.
sometimes it's just not the case. I've heard many people say they are afraid of angelic beings and they don't want to
Mm.
work with them. They don't want to see them. They're terrified of them because they think they're going to hurt them. And
Yeah,
I've heard with demonic beings, I heard people say like, "Oh yeah, no, they're not going to hurt you. They might give you some tough love, but they're not going to actually hurt you. It's for your betterment, blah blah blah." And then of course the reverse is true. And
mhm.
I'm just somehow I don't think it's actually possible, but somehow people just sort of need to take away the this is good, this is bad, and like you said, and just see them as whatever they are, doing their thing, whatever that may be. And
Yeah,
again, I like to say it's a balancing act. You put it perfectly with Michael. He might be doing something for the greater good, which is atrocious to us, or but for someone else, it's like, no, that's not atrocious. He's wiping this out. He's a hero. You know it.
yeah, exactly.
And then I love
Yeah.
to bring up this example too. When sometimes people get mad with this one, but I do say like, well, what demon wiped out an entire city because people were gay?
Yeah.
You know, don't look back. You'll turn the salt. Like what? Oh no. Just as an
Exactly.
example. you know. So, but I'm not trying to say demons are really good and angels are nothing like that. It's just example. Anyway, sorry, that was a lot of rambling. I had a
That's
point
okay.
there. I lost
I
it.
like a ramble too.
Okay.
It's all about perspective though, and I think just to quickly say, I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, at least in our lifetime, because humans always need a bad guy.
Mhm.
That's why superhero movies are so popular. That we always need a bad guy, and religion has got people thinking we need an adversary.
Mhm.
And imagine if all the dark beings were wiped out, all the so-called demons, then what? It just wouldn't work.
No.
They need each other.
Yeah, and um and I like to also say that even like let's say somehow all demonic entities were gone. Poof. No matter what, every story has a villain, and if there isn't one, one is created somehow. So it's it's a weird cycle that will never truly go away.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe when the aliens show up, maybe they'll be like, "Oh,
And then that guy.
yeah, there we go. Okay, everyone, unite. We got the new baddies." So, can you tell me the difference between working with an angel versus working with a demonic entity?
I think the way you approach it, maybe. I mean, the two sides of the same coin, the way I see them, and it depends because there's so many different paths. I'm not a full-on demon altar. I don't do Solomonic magic, but some people might. And then also work with an angel. I might use stuff like Enochian tablets to summon the angel. It's the same difference the way I see it. You summon a demon, you summon an angel. For me, the way I approach, to be honest, I approach demons and angels like any deity. I show everyone the same level of respect. There was once a time I never used to do that, and I mean, I've learned from my mistakes. I saw a bad side of Raphael once.
Mm.
that was my own fault though. I was being rude, but yeah, just treat them like any other deity. So I don't really know if there's too much of a difference. I mean, angels don't like the same sort of offerings as the demonic do, or even some deities do. Angels don't care if you know, giving them fancy food or whatever. In my experience, it's more the work with them is more a higher purpose sort of thing. Not that lower energies can't work towards a higher purpose, as Azazel as an example with the shadow work. That's a healing thing. That to me is a higher purpose. But I feel like angels, I don't know, it's like looking at the bigger picture, not just you, but those around you and the universe, I suppose. I don't know how else to put it,
No, I
if that
think
even made sense.
it makes sense. I think you put it as best as you could. I think you made a lot of sense. And it's just sometimes people don't want to accept that. They like the drama and the thought of
Mm.
it being, I guess, some weird spiritual holy war.
Oh,
And,
yeah, all the time, isn't it?
and we mix in our own fantasies about it, and, things get all over the place when, reality is stuff is quite boring. I mean,
Hmm.
it's just the reality of it. You're probably not, uh-oh, this could be a knock on you know who, but you're probably not going to transform into Sailor Moon and fight some demons by Michael
Mm,
or something as much as you'd want to. Maybe in your dreams, but that's about it.
yeah.
So,
And
oh, go ahead.
oh, I was just going to say, from experience as well, I don't think it's not just spiritual warfare and that whole thing. A lot of people, and it's not just aimed at one person here, but through doing readings for people without divulging anything, but people want to be this superhero and this special person and to know that they are special. That's why you get people saying my spirit guide's Michael Jackson. And I've had that. The one I always use as an example, years ago, someone was adamant they were Anne Boleyn in a past life and things like this. And someone out there might have been Anne Boleyn, a poor person, but we're all special in our own ways, and it's about accepting that. Well, I might not have been, someone, a Cleopatra,
Yeah.
but that's okay. I am me now, and I am just as special. That's a common thing I've noticed. People want to be this, you know, superhero,
Yeah,
basically.
and
That
I
seems to be a thing.
I get why, because oftentimes we don't like our lives. We feel stuck
Yeah,
and like we haven't accomplished anything. And you have that, what if I was this? Maybe I was this. Then I was something. I was remembered. That's the biggest thing, being remembered. And
yeah,
so it's a way to escape reality for a moment,
yeah. Escapism, isn't it?
but you know, but yeah, the truth is, chances are you weren't that. Cleopatra seems to be a popular one. Like everyone, like I was
Hmm.
Cleopatra. Oh, okay. And then there are some people who've told me that they were deities of some sort, and it's like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
I've heard that.
I
Hmm.
mean, I won't say no. I can't say you
Yeah,
weren't, but I can't exactly say you were. Oh,
yeah.
okay. So Doll she wants to stir the pot here, but she wants to know, do you have any famous person in your past life?
Not that I know of. For me personally, no, no.
Yeah, so I like to joke and say in my past life, I don't know, I was just some nobody who fell off a cliff. Like, so I I have no proof of this, but I actually do think I might have fallen off a cliff in a past life. That's terrible. But I do have an irrational fear of heights, so you never know. So, Sarah, okay. You mentioned that you do readings. What type of readings do you do?
All sorts. So, uh, deity confirmations are a big thing that people seem to gravitate towards. I love doing readings with Hecate, so if people want a message from her, then yeah, I do those sorts of things. I can do past life readings. I do readings on spirit guides. I do readings on people's pets, living and not living, because I just love animals, so that's why. And like your bog standard ones, I suppose. I've been asked all sorts over the years. Romance, bog standard questions sort of thing. I even did a brief stint, which I need to do a video on for my own channel. I did a brief stint working on a tarot line to see what it was like in between jobs. I would not recommend.
Oh, please take us through that.
Oh, honestly, I mean, it's a rip-off. Don't call those lines, is what I would say, because they're charging you premium prices. The one I worked on, even though I'm British, I would sometimes get people from North America come through as well. I remember one guy said, "Has the love spell I've paid for worked?" I mean, he's put a spell on someone else and asking me. I'm like, oh, no. It was just against my ethos, and you have to be dead quick, and people want to know everything like in 2 seconds because they're being timed. But you get your regulars that were like addicted to it, and this one guy, this is what made me stop, because I felt so uncomfortable. He was just obsessed with his ex-wife and wanted to know everything about his ex-wife, and just the stuff I won't even say on here. It was triggering even for me, and I had to like tell him, look, I'm not going to ask that. That's not okay. So you do get some crazy sort of questions on there. But as the reader, you don't get much money from it at all. It's just not worth your time and energy. It's like, yeah.
That sounds rough. That oh boy, yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it. How long did you last?
Like a couple of months.
Oh, okay.
On and off. Not even that. I mean, you could pick your own hours when you wanted to do it, if at all. It just wasn't worth it though for me.
Yeah.
Personally, I like to take my time. I don't like to be rushed. You can't rush spirit at the end of the day if you're being accurate. But I think there'll be some people on there, I'm not saying everyone, but there'll be some that are just saying whatever just for a quick buck. That's what I
Yeah, I
feel.
figured. It's always someone. They think,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm Miss Cleo. Call me now. It's like, oh, you're a wiener. But okay, so your readings, like, do you use any type of tools such as tarot or oracle cards? Divination rod or dowsing rod, excuse me, or anything when you do them, or it just flows naturally to you. You just tap in and get into the zone.
So I do use tarot, not all the time. I used to use it all the time, but as my abilities have developed, to be honest, I don't even really need it. But I like to use it to illustrate to people. Look, these are the cards I got. If they want to look it up, the meaning for themselves, because I channel spirit. It does help me channel. When I do that, I hear normally words in my head. Sometimes it might be like a feeling that I feel a feeling like. Especially when it comes to deities, Kernanos is like that. He is another Celtic deity. He's very primordial, the horned god. And he doesn't really use words. It's pictures, feelings. So it's like my interpretation of that. But I still draw cards, say if it's a deity reading, to show people, look, this is what they've said if you want to look it up yourself. But other readings like past life ones, no, it's just my abilities. I tap in, as you say. Yeah, but mainly tarot. I just like your bog standard tarot.
And Dahl would like to know, do you have, oh, wait, what? Oh, what tarot deck do you like? Do you have any particular deck that you favor?
I normally just go with Rider Waite. I've got so many tarot decks. I was talking about this on my live stream last night, that I'm a bit ashamed the amount of tarot decks I've got, because I get drawn to the artwork, as you'll know yourself. There's so many pretty ones out there and niche ones, and yeah, I've got loads, but in the end, I always end up with Rider-Waite.
Yeah. Well,
Always using that.
a shameless plug. Feel free to pick up my deck, the Tarot of of Neo Fiction, which, if you guys don't know, I created a tarot deck, and here's some of the imagery real quick. Shameless
Oh,
plug.
nice.
Yes, I know. It is based off of the Rider-Waite system.
Oh, yeah.
And so if you know Rider-Waite, oh yeah, beloved. Um,
Oh,
if you know
nice.
Rider-Waite, then you'll be able to follow this without any issue.
Oh,
So,
I like that. It's like Santa Muerte vibes.
you're the second person to say that. This was a hard one to make. So, real quick, just showing it off.
Three of is that three of wands?
Yeah, wands, canes, whatever you want to call it. And
Nice.
I'll just show a couple more and then back to you because you're the star.
Oh, oh, nice.
And
Oh, scary. I feel like that's Friday the 13th, that
yeah.
one.
All
Oh,
right,
that's nice.
there we go. Yeah, we
Is
end
that
on a
is that like the star?
yep.
Is it the star?
Yep. My version of the star. So there you go. All right,
Oh,
shameless
nice.
plug over.
Oh,
Sorry
and
about
where
that.
can you get that though? Where can you
You
get it?
can get it. That's a good question. I have it in the description. Uh, you do. Where did I put this thing? Cause there it is. So you could get it at. Oh wow, I didn't put it on this one. Okay. Well,
Good job, I asked. There you
yes,
go.
I will be doing that later, but you could go to printerstudio.com and type in the Tarot of Neo Fiction or printerstudio.com/unexplained possibilities, and you could get the Tarot of Neo Fiction from there.
Nice.
So there you go.
I'm gonna check it out.
Oh, well, thank you. So, and if you would prefer to just see all the cards in a flip through, there's a video on the channel. There's a sped up one on Instagram and all that. Because I want people to make sure something they would actually want and not just waste your money. Spend your money on something you want and like. But anyway, okay, so back to the star of the show here. Uh, just a quick detour. So, yeah, so you're saying that you get feelings sometimes, and like, are you more? Well, I guess you're a mix of everything. I was gonna say, are you clairaudible, clairvoyant, clairsentient, clair? Too many clairs, clair everything. But
I'm just Claire. Hi, nice to meet you.
but yeah, it sounds like you're a mix of everything. And how do you protect yourself though? Because I assume that sometimes you might attract things that you really don't want to deal with, or even
Mm.
like, how do you turn it off as well? Where it's like, no, leave me alone. This is my time.
Well, I mean, it's difficult. I can't lie. I've got story times on my channel about that. I've actually got a video coming up because someone asked me this, and it's all ready to go. So it'll be up soonish, maybe next week, talking more in depth about it. But it is difficult. Lately, I can't lie. I have been feeling like spacey, like drained, doing a lot of readings recently, and I just take my time with it. Even when I feel like that, okay, well, take my time. Uh, Make sure you're cleansed all the time, is what I would
Mhm.
say. Cleanse yourself. Have cleansing showers, which I've got this scrub that I put some. Oh, my camera did a weird thing, a flash then.
Uh-oh.
I got this special scrub and it went everywhere in the bathroom. I was so annoyed. But yes, I was, having a cleansing shower. So I do stuff like that. I'm always cleansing my space all the time, smoke cleanse mainly, doing stuff like that. And if I do feel something bad there, well, I have to get my banishment on, basically. But it's just keeping on top of it, really. And I feel I'm at a point in my practice, so where I live, my home's kind of like a little bubble. I only live in a small home. I have an apartment, so it's not that big, and I feel like it's a little protective bubble. And yeah, I feel all right in it. But make sure you've got wards up, different protections, things like that. Could be anything, spells, even if you're not a witch. Sigils, all sorts of things. But just keeping on top of it, really, and know when you need a break as well. If I need to just watch some crap TV show or whatever, then I will.
That's interesting you said the bubble thing because that's so important. Because it's almost like a mental defense where this is my sanctuary. Nothing is allowed here. This is mine.
Mm-hmm,
Get out of here. So I think
mm-hmm,
having that mentality is very powerful for protection as well. And sometimes just ignoring things uh, and
mm-hmm,
and not giving it the attention that it wants, and like you said, taking breaks is huge because sometimes people don't know when to stop. And
yeah.
if you're dead tired and you're feeling like a tortoise, maybe man, sit down, eat some chips, do nothing. Um, so, for people who are new, what type of cleansing would you recommend them? Because you mentioned cleansing a few times, and I know not
Yeah.
everyone really gets that. They might say, like, okay, so what? Do I take a salt bath? Like,
Yeah.
what's the cleansing?
Well, I mean, personal cleansing is stuff like salt bath.
Hmm.
My friend, I don't know if she's still there, but Lauren does that all the time. uh, I prefer a shower. That's just me. But yeah, stuff like that. It's the intention in it as well. So salt is protective and cleansing, and especially salt baths like Epsom salts draw out your toxins. That's what they're meant to do. So you're getting rid of that energy. So if you have a bath or a shower with that intent to scrub yourself clean, mentally, spiritually, as well as physically, then that is a powerful thing in itself. You're getting rid of residual energy, even if you're not practicing. You can pick up things when you're out and about, and not. I don't always mean like a spirit. I mean, someone's being negative, and you pick up a bit of their vibes. So you're just getting rid of that. Cleansing the home, I mean, similar principles in that you've got to have some intention behind it too. You can't just go waving about a sage stick or incense and go, all right, it's done. You've got to have meaning behind it. So you could visualize getting rid of stagnant or negative energy. You could say your intention out loud. Sometimes I just say it in my head at the moment. But yeah, you can use smoke, sound, I sometimes use, or sometimes I make little sprays. Like I have a spray bottle, and in America, I think you guys call it Florida water. In
Hmm.
Europe, it's Eau de Cologne. That's what I use anyway. We still get Florida water over here, but I kind of make a Florida water spray with some moon water sometimes. There's loads of different ways, but you've got to have that intent behind.
Okay. And yeah, intent is so important. Like, that's probably the core of everything. And, without the right intent, like, then it's gonna fail. Like, what's the point? Oh my gosh, I was getting ready to say something like, oh, now I remember. Okay, so I'm just curious here, but what is an experience that you are looking forward to having one day? Something that you want to happen
Uh, like spiritually,
spiritually.
or like yeah,
Yes.
being able to truly help other people. I know people say I do all the time through my YouTube and things like that, but for that to grow, because I'm really working hard on that. Spreading Hecate's word, I suppose, and being able to help. Yeah, really, I want to get to a point where where it's what I do all the time, and maybe one day, you never know, maybe I could set up a safe space. What space? I don't know, a space, yeah. Not a temple. I mean, the Hecate's got different temples and all sorts, and I'm not about that. I don't feel. My opinion is I don't think she is either, really. But somewhere people could go, like, you know, to share thoughts and ideas and things like that. That would be good.
Okay, well, you know what? You'll make it happen. Like positive thinking,
Oh,
put it out there. You're gonna make it happen. No, it's serious. You're gonna make it happen. Okay,
yeah.
so swinging back around to Hecate, I don't know if you'll be able to do this or not, but what do you think her message would be for the group, for everyone?
Well, that she is who she is, no matter what anyone says. I feel like that's what she's been telling me over and over recently. That look, I am me, and that could be, mother, that could be primordial, that could be just witchy goddess, whatever. I've recently released a video, I think it just came out tonight, where someone was saying that it's a lie to worship Hecate as a crone, and was very dismissive and saying that people were writing fan fiction about her, calling her a crone goddess. And it's like, no, she can be a crone, she can be a maiden, it doesn't matter, she can be anything and everything. Just listen to your intuition, and that's what I feel she wants people to do, to find your resonance with her, uh, however big or small that is. That's what I feel the message would be.
Okay, I think that's a good message. And for people who want to work with her, but they're unsure what those first steps should be, what advice can you give them?
Literally light her a candle, if you can. Uh, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Ask her to come to your space. You can ask out loud in your head. You can pray to her. I know some people don't like to pray because of the whole Christianity thing, but that was actually a thing in Hellenismos, in Hellenic times. It's not just Abrahamic religions that pray, but just ask her to come to you and sit with her energy, and yeah, I mean, go from there. Essentially, if you know how to do tarot, great, you can do readings with her. If you don't, you could ask her for a sign, ask her to visit you in a dream, use a pendulum, even, meditate. There's loads of different things, I suppose, but it's just simple. You don't have to do anything fancy.
Yeah, and I think that's what throws people off. They look at uh, high ceremonial magic, and a lot of that's theatrics more so than anything. But
Yeah,
I think it just throws them off. It's like, oh my gosh, I need to have these robes. I need to chant and have the all these candles lined up and be at the right position for the earth and the stars. And it's like, not really. I mean, do what
no,
you can and be open and honest and be willing to receive whatever comes your way. And I think people also have to remember you're not going to get a straightforward answer or conversation. It could be something very small but noticeable that you will understand. Just like
mm-hmm.
earlier in the show, mentioning the threes and the three heads, the three different you're like, oh, you know what?
Yeah.
That's interesting because of this and the trivia. It's like, oh, well, son of a monkey's
Yeah,
uncle.
just it is little thing. Like last night, I was up very late. Sometimes I notice the time. Even now, 21:21. That's just, well, where I am, not where you are. But but yeah, just like random things like that. She sent me 333 at 3 a.m. It's just little things that I'm like, yep.
Yeah, so that's, and I would also say don't look for them because when you look for them, you
Oh
miss them.
no, yeah,
So don't do it. But yeah, just I guess just do what you do, just go for it. And I think this is where we are going to end it. Time flew. Didn't feel like an hour 15.
It did.
Did it feel like it for you? No.
No,
No.
no,
Went
didn't.
right on by. I wish I could snap my fingers. I would be like, but I can't. It's just, well,
Oh.
imagine me snap. There we go. Yeah. So, um, so Sarah, where can people find you or contact you if they want a reading or learn more about you?
I've got a YouTube channel, that Divination Witch, the same as here. And on my YouTube channel, I always link my link tree. I've got an Etsy, I've got a website, I've got Patreon, got a million things.
Oh,
But yeah, check out my YouTube channel. That's my main hub where I am.
uh,
And all my contact info's on there.
real quick, what do you do on Etsy?
So Etsy's, well, I sell my readings on there.
Oh,
I've had that since like day one. So even before I had YouTube. So I started on TikTok back in 2020,
mm.
and I was on the dark side. I don't. That's a conversation for another time. Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've had it since then. It's so because people know me through that. I don't want to get fully rid of it yet, and it's got some good reviews on there. Don't want to get rid of that. But yeah, I just sell my readings through that.
Okay, and I have your link tree in the description below, so everyone go and click on it. Oh, and thank you for subscribing, Chris. Oh, another name. I'm just gonna call you Chris. Thank you for subbing.
Oh, hi. I recognize that name.
Oh, okay.
He's, I think, Chris. You follow Apollo, I think, off the top of my, or Aphrodite. No, yeah, someone like that. Anyway, sorry.
All good. But thank you for subscribing. Really appreciate that. And yeah, so your link tree is in the description below. Click on it. It'll take you everywhere where you need to go, where you can find Sarah, show her some love, give her a thumbs up, a hug. I don't know, all that good stuff. And go ahead and tell her I sent you too. Not really. You just go say hi, darn it, people. And with that said, nothing coming up really for Unexplained Possibilities. Tomorrow is in case you missed it, nothing planned for next month just yet. But since you're in the description already, be sure to follow Unexplained Possibilities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, all those stuff. And Sarah, thank you again for coming on. I had fun. Thank you for dropping your knowledge, and hopefully we could get you back on too.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. Anytime,
Okay.
anytime. All right, take
And
care. Thank you.
bye. And with that
Bye.
said, remember, guys, there are things that go bump in the night. Go ahead and tell them hi. Bye, everybody.